Right then, guys, how's it going? And welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news, and we are live. Hope you guys are all doing good. If you're watching the video, thank you for joining. For everyone who's in the live chat already, thank you for joining as well. Hello, Jabba. Hello, Pete. So, Pete's started me off there, 100 days. We are going to talk pretty openly about Newcastle in general, about the last couple of weeks we've had. Obviously, the win that we had at the weekend against Aston Villa. We'll probably talk a little bit about the West Ham game coming up as well. But I wanted to centre the stream around something, and what I chose to talk about today is Eddie Howe. And I just wanted to basically have a little bit of a run through what we've seen of him so far. The reason I'm bringing Pete's comment up as well is because it isn't quite 100 days yet. I think it's actually 92 days, but 100 days definitely sounded better. 3 months is what we should say. But yes, thank you for jumping in the stream, Pete. I'm very well, thank you. But yes, as I say, it has been a whirlwind 100 days, or almost 100 days. I should say that I did take a little bit of inspiration on this one from a video that I actually did a couple of weeks ago, because obviously it would make sense that a couple of weeks ago it was the 100 days since the takeover, and I actually did a video all about that. So if you've not seen that already, please go and check it out once we're finished with today. But as I say, I thought very similar to that, it will be good to take a look at the 100 days of Eddie Howe as well. So be sure to keep chucking your comments in as we go along through the live stream. Hello to Justin. Hello to Mark. He likes the shirt. Thank you, mate. I'll be honest. This is, other than when I got it, this is the first time I've actually worn it, to be honest. It's the first Newcastle shirt that I have bought from, the club shop, not off eBay or off like a retro seller. This is the first shirt I've actually went and bought from the shop in years. I think the last one I got was the, even though, it was Ashley in charge and I wasn't particularly happy about it, I felt like I needed to get it. It was the 125-year anniversary shirt. I did go and get that. Was the last one I got. So yeah, it's been a while since I've got a new one. Hello, Ha. Hello, Geordie. Hello, my guy. I came in right as the countdown went to 5. Great timing, mate. And hello to Gary. I think Linton could do better than Batty, and that really does say how good Linton's playing. Yeah, he's doing great. And you know what? Talking about Eddie Howe, I think Joelinton is certainly one of the success stories that we will talk about in today's video. As I say, I think it's quite telling as well how the players have come out in obviously their own interviews and have not shied away from kind of openly saying how much, this was, obviously it's funny doing this video now as well, because if I did it 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, before we beat Leeds, Everton and Aston Villa, I don't think the outcome of the conversation would necessarily be an awful lot different. But it's great that we've kind of, because what I was going to say was, the players coming out and doing interviews and stuff have never shied away from kind of saying how much better things have been under the new management, the way things are kind of progressing in terms of the formations and even just the way the trainings are set up. I'm pretty sure it was it Fraser very recently in his interview kind of said, I don't really want to say anything bad, but at the same time, he wanted to kind of, so he physically said, I don't really want to say something bad, so I'm going to not, and then just talk about Eddie Howe instead, which again is kind of showing, he was quite open to say how much better things are. And again, 100 days of Eddie Howe later, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. It was not going to be easy for him coming in from day one, and I will kind of get something up on screen here, and we'll run back to the start and kind of make our way through it together. To give an overall, Keep your comments coming in. Let me know what your thoughts are on Eddie Howe. Has your opinion changed at all as time has gone on? Were you initially happy with the announcement of Eddie Howe? Were you unhappy? How were you feeling about Eddie Howe 2 months ago? Were you, or a month ago? 50 days ago? Has things changed for you? When really, there was a clear change for me quite quickly, that we were playing just more organized. And again, we'll talk about all this in a minute, but I do think one of the big things with Eddie Howe, and look at the Villa game is a great example. The Everton win was obviously a fantastic win. Everyone loves to see goals. We want to see us scoring. That's all part of the fun. And we played some really good football. I think if you look at the Aston Villa game, we were all right. We had some high effort. We had a lot of grit. You could tell the players wanted it. But we only had 2 shots on target, so we played a good game. We were really, it was more, I just think what Eddie Howe has done, and I did hear, I think it was Craig Hope spoke about this just the other day as well, and just said the fundamentals are there now. I feel like before Eddie Howe came in, it was like, let's just step out on the pitch and we'll just see what happens. I think before you can build, I know St. Max gives us that flair. It gives us that creativity. Hopefully Bruno coming in can help add to that as well. But I do think one of the main things that Eddie Howe has achieved in those 100 days is just getting the fundamentals right, working hard, fitter, just having a fitter side who can actually run the full 90 minutes. Because, it feels like these 100 days have completely blown over, to be honest. But it wasn't that long ago that, we had players exiting the field after 60 minutes because they weren't match ready, which is mental, to be honest. So again, that just the pure fundamentals of what it is to be the footballer. I think that's what Eddie Howe has first and foremost done, and making us a tougher opposition to beat. Yes, we've kind of won those 3 games in the last couple of weeks, which has been incredible. But and again, we'll bring up the fixtures and we'll have a little run through. Before that, yes, we weren't necessarily winning, but we were creating chances, and we weren't just getting beat. We weren't losing in the last 15 minutes. And again, that's why the Villa result is so satisfying, to be honest, because yes, we didn't go out and score 3 goals like we did against Everton, but to have that confidence, belief, and just what's the word? Just being able to just see a game out and have that belief in yourself that we don't have to panic. What's the word? Calm. Basically, we did what we had to do, and it was, as I said, Eddie Howe himself came out and said that. Yes, we didn't score many goals, but it's almost as satisfying. And that's again another thing is quite often. Well, you look at Fergie time and Manchester United, and there's 5 minutes left, and they've gone and scored. They've played useless, but they managed to get a goal, and that was something that was really not on our side for what feels like a long time. And even in the early days of Eddie Howe, in the first month or two, 50 days at least, we were playing decent or better football, but we just weren't picking up points. There's a and then against Villa, scrappy, tough game, we pick up 3 points, so it was good to see us get those 3 points there. Again, thank you for the comments coming in. The new owners need to change Newcastle shirts from style to Juventus modern style shirts. Do you mean like the stripes need to be bigger? What do you mean? The stripes need to be smaller? I mean, I suppose really it's not really black and white stripes at the moment. It's just 2 whites and 1 black. I was always happy with him from the start. He got so much disrespect from some people after Watford draw and Cambridge loss. I mean, yeah, this is why it's interesting to ask the question as well, as how did you feel about Eddie Howe from the start, middle, and end? I'm wondering how best we could kind of timeline this, to kind of talk about where it was and where it went to. I think maybe if I get the fixtures up and then we can kind of look at fixture number one, or even just look at my own video timeline as well, because obviously I've done plenty of videos on Eddie Howe myself. Go on, let's do that. It's probably the easiest way because I'll have all of the I'll have all of the results. But yeah. Again, we were linked with a lot of managers, and obviously the owners definitely took their time as to deciding who they wanted to bring in. And when he first joined, I think if Eddie Howe had been, it's so weird thinking about this now. It feels like 3 seconds ago, but also feels like a long time ago at the same time. I think if they just literally came out day 2 and went, yeah, it's Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's coming in. I think a lot of people would have been really keen on it. I think because we got linked with everyone under the sun, Mourinho, Conte, all these different managers, and then we're back to Eddie Howe. I think for me, I don't know. Obviously, when you're hearing all these different names, I'm trying to think what I first thought when I heard about Eddie Howe becoming manager. I think the fact is that we needed. I felt, and again, well, I always said I felt like the Premier League experienced manager would do us good. So in that sense, I think I was keen on the Eddie Howe move. I think what really got me was when Eddie Howe did his first interview and he actually came out and spoke about it. And again, this is not just Eddie Howe. This is how the club has changed over the last 100 days, is the complete transparency of him coming out and having those conversations with the fans directly of what he's here for, what he wants to achieve. Again, when the previous management left, Chapper was saying he felt like anything better than Steve Bruce and Steve McLaren. Yeah, there was probably a lot of people who thought that as well, mate. Never mind who we're getting in, as long as it's not what we had. Yeah, Mark coming in. How fit is Shelby looking? A completely different player. I think what Eddie Howe's also done, and obviously the transfer window has helped that, but he's created competition among players again. I think, again, previous to that, if you had a bad game, it didn't seem to matter, did it? I think it was the same 11 over and over. Hi, Elijah. Hope you're good, mate. So yeah, let's bring this up on screen and we'll take a look at this together. So I think this is possibly the best way to do it. Oh, nothing's ever easy when you're doing a live stream, is it? Okay. Let's just go here. Right then. Also, do you know what would have been? Oh, never mind. Okay, let's get this up. I was going to say, what position were we in the league when Eddie Howe started as well? Because that's as good a question as any, isn't it? Okay, so here are Newcastle's fixtures. Eddie Howe's first game in charge, if I'm not mistaken, was Brentford, wasn't it? That's how organised I am today, everyone. It was Brentford, wasn't it? Was it the 3? Was it the 3-3? Here's my videos. This is what I was looking at as well. So obviously, day one for Eddie Howe. Look, I did a live stream then as well. That's how often we do these. First interview of Eddie Howe, and then what will Eddie do early on against Brentford? Because that was it. So we came into it with Eddie Howe. He had the international break, so he had a long time to get things organised. And then we saw pretty quickly a 3-3. So that's not a bad way to introduce yourself, is it? To the start of a new management is a 3-3 game. Again, as I say, I think, and this was something else that happened very early on as well, was that not only did we see the early interviews with Eddie Howe, but we also saw all of that the training videos coming out, which again is not necessarily Eddie Howe. That was kind of the change in ownership that helped obviously promote that, with the being a lot more open with the fans and wanted to share what was going on. To seeing all of those behind the scenes videos and players. Again, I think the well, look here, 23 shots, 9 on target. It certainly was a good start, and then that was when we went into that period where we played both Norwich and Burnley. He got us our first win of the season, and from then on, as I say, that I do feel like the obviously the opinion of Eddie Howe right now is very high, and I think pretty much all Newcastle fans have always been of the opinion is that he's come in and we'll stick by him, and he's got to have a chance, because again, that's something else I've said a lot of times, is that well, it was the same in the January window, but it's the same as what he's been trying to do since he came in, and it's trying to fix 14 years of, you know, issues, problems on the field, off the field, and to be dropped into that as a manager to try and get the best out of players, get the best out of a defensive line that was our team in the Championship, was always going to be really tough. We're Newcastle's second bottom, 1 point off over Norwich. Could well have been, mate. We were definitely in the relegation spots. I know that. I know that we definitely hadn't won a game either. So to now sit here, well, let's be honest. We're on 21 points now. Before the start of the last 3 games, we've almost doubled our points, literally in 3 games, which is certainly not bad going at all. So if we can keep up this form, I'd definitely take it. I think we're the only team outside of the top 4 who are on this kind of form. Yeah. Liverpool have won the last 3. Technically, we are on better form than Man City right now, who have drawn and won 2 in their last 3 games. We are actually on better form than them. We have picked up 5 more points than Chelsea in their last 3 games as well. But I do not imagine we'll be catching them. Let's be honest. Brentford only 3 points ahead as well. Yeah, it's certainly. I mean, look at that. If again, 100 days ago, when Eddie Howe first started, and you'd offered me to be 17th place, 4 points above, with 3 games won in a row, I would have taken it. I don't think I would have believed you, to be honest, to say that we would have won. Would have won 3 games in a row. I can't see all you guys talking about Chris Wood in the chat as well. We can talk about Chris Wood. I think Ballerism is saying he's not good enough. Gary says he's done a decent job not getting a good enough supply. I think this is one thing that that Eddie Howe is still working on a little bit. As I say, what I think we've definitely done in these 100 days is he's fixed he's fixed the things that really every football team should be doing. We should be fit enough to play 90 minutes. we should have. We just need to. We needed to be tougher to beat. We needed to be more compact. We needed to communicate more. I mean, bringing in players like Trippier again. The windows obviously helped Eddie Howe, but there was a lot of this before these players came in. I just think they've definitely added to it. We've seen Dan Burn play an incredible debut at the weekend, and I really hope he can continue with that because I think he will be just as good for that as some of the other guys who are coming in. I think for Chris Woods, Chris Woods in the same position as basically what Wilson was. Callum Wilson, the difference between, I think Callum Wilson can get 3 touches of the ball in a game and you hope and he puts at least 1 or 2 of them in the net. Chris Wood, if he has a similar chance ratio, I don't think he would be as clinical as Wilson. But it's not to say that he can't score goals. I just think he might need 1 or 2 more chances. And the way we play our football at the minute, in fairness, one thing I thought Eddie Howe would have seen slightly more of since Trippier and Target came in. Obviously, Target's only been able to play 1 game so far. And Trippier's now injured, so we probably won't see much more of this, to be honest. But the way we are trying to create chances right now is get the ball to Wood so he can lay it off or bring it down and move it on or get the flick on. The way to get Wood scoring is to be using Bruno to be playing the crossfield balls in behind to Fraser. St. Max isn't really the same because he kind of cuts back, but maybe it's Target on the overlap. Maybe it's Trippier running around the back and get the balls in to the box. We're not really doing that right now. That isn't how we are trying to create our chances. And because of that, Chris Wood is probably he's gonna struggle. If we want him to score goals, just put him on the penalty spot and cross the ball in 15 times a game, and maybe he'll get a few. But I think what Wood's doing is playing to the team's strategy, which is bring the ball down, let the space open up, give it to St. Max and let him put the ball in the net. It's not really what we're trying to do there. John's coming in saying Chris Wood was really only for the short/medium term and might prove a useful squad player. Don't think he'll be a regular starter next season. I think the owners have been smart with the transfers we've made. I'm sure Eddie Howe would have had an input to all of this as well. We could have probably gone out, and we were linked with players from far-flung, further afield that we could have brought in. Obviously, we've done that with Bruno Guimaraes. He is our bit of exotic taste in a transfer window. But you look at Dan Burn, Target, Trippier a little bit, but obviously he's a much bigger name player with a lot more experience. And then Chris Wood. You're looking at players that are going to help us finish 17th. And then hopefully higher. We haven't gone out and spent crazy money on players that may be technically better, but without Premier League experience, we're just going to assume they're going to fit in. I think the big thing with, again, those players, Target, Burn, Wood, they already played regular football in the Premier League. They're already accustomed to what we're doing here. They're already up to pace with the speed and the physicality of the game. That's something else that Eddie Howe has brought to us, is that we're not a pushover right now. Dan Bird is ripping people's shirts off in the box. Joelinton is knocking people out in the tunnel. Like, that's good. We really needed that. We needed so much more bite. We didn't have that. That's something else that he's definitely introduced, which again, I think for me is part of these fundamentals that he has started to introduce into our team. But again, just going back to you guys talking about Chris Wood in the comments, I just think it was didn't hurt to take it from a relegation rival, did it? Either bringing in a striker from another team, and it's a January window where there's not a lot available. But I do think I do think these players in the window will certainly improve us. You know, what was the other option? The other option was Dwight Gale, who hasn't played a game in since we played the friendly against Norwich. You know, so we've brought in players who needed to hit the ground instantly. They knew what they were doing, and yeah, people are again saying here maybe we'll see more changes in the summer. I definitely think we could well see some more transfers in the summer, but we need to stay up this season first, and then we'll see where we can get to after that. Oops, put it on the big one now. Talking about upcoming fixtures, do I think we can get 3 points against West Ham? Again, there it is. Obviously, those are the 3 lovely wins we like to look at. And you know what it is? It's quite exciting to look at the upcoming games, I think. I think West Ham are a good side. It's on TV, and I'm not going, unfortunately. So if you are going, let me know in the comments. Jabba's feeling a 2-0 win for us. I went 1-0 Newcastle in my prediction, and I will actually have my full Premier League predictions video out tomorrow. So be sure to look out for that, probably around 4:00 UK time. Stevie's saying he thinks that a draw would be a great result. The thing is, and it's easy to fall back on this, but I do agree with you. For example, if we'd drawn against Aston Villa, and I said, if you'd offered me 7 points from Leeds, Everton, Villa, I would have taken it. I would have taken 2 wins and a draw from our last 3 games. If you're now offering me 10 points from our last 4 games, so 3 wins and a draw, I would have taken that as well. So I do agree. I mean, you probably would have, if you put it that way, it could probably be any result. You know what I mean? So, because you could say, would you have, if before any of these games had started and someone had said, you'll win 3 out of 4 of them, I probably would have said yes as well. But having said that, we've looked good, and West Ham are, you look at that last 5 games: draw, win, loss, win. Who did they draw against? Leicester. 2-2. So yeah, they are a good side. They've got some good players. I think you're looking at players like Bowen. Obviously, Antonio is always going to be a threat. They've got a lot of pace in that team. I think Declan Rice is obviously a very good player as well. But I think attacking wise, I think they've got some quite pacey players that we'll have to look out for. I think for us, it's great that Target is back from, obviously couldn't play against Villa. He'll be back, so I think that's a big one for us. And then obviously the big one for them probably is that Trippier can't play. No Trippier, unfortunately, because of an injury for 6 to 8 weeks. Which the only thing I'll say about the Trippier injury is that there's nothing good about it really, other than the fact that it's a break. He's broken his foot. Obviously, people like Callum Wilson have got continuous problems with injuries because of hamstrings and muscles, and Dummett's in and he's out, and it's all like muscular stuff. Once your foot's healed, it's healed. So hopefully, if you can pull through this quickly, they say 6 to 8 weeks. I think it could be. I would actually go on the side of it could be quicker rather than longer. He's a young lad. I'm sure it'll heal up. It'll heal up quick for him. John saying, would 3 points out of the next 2 games be okay? Ooh, so that will be West Ham and Brentford. Um, the thing you've got to look at as well, because also you say to yourself, we're 4 points clear with a game in hand on Norwich. Even if we aren't winning our games, you're assuming that they're winning theirs, which is often not the case at all. I mean, you look back at previous seasons where we've managed to scrape through relegations and we're losing all these games, and I'm going, oh my God, no one else is winning either. So again, that's why these 3 wins in a row have been so good, because Norwich had their own little run of 2 there. I mean, Everton had lost 4 in a row. Brentford still haven't won a game, and must be 8 or 9 now. They've gone a long time without a win. So an extra 3 points on top of that takes us up to, well, if we score enough goals, it could take us to 14th. So, with that in mind, I would like to think we'll beat Brentford. I like to think we'll beat Brentford. So, yeah, I would like 4. Can you offer us 4, John, instead of 3? And I'll take that. Think I'll get any from City or any of the top teams. Cheers for your comments, Sonny. It's an interesting one because, again, I mean, look, so where are we now? The next one is West Ham, Brentford, Brighton. So Chelsea's the next big one, and then Tottenham, Man City's not till May. And I think yeah. So we've got that tough period coming at the end of April before the end of the season when we've got Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. That's why we ideally need to pick up some points in these next few, because we don't want to be fretting coming later into the season. You know what it is? I think one of the big things, and obviously going back to the topic at hand here of what Eddie Howe has been able to achieve in his 100 days as Newcastle manager, is what has also happened. And I think, again, a big part of this is the transfers that have come in, because you look at obviously Trippier came in first, then Wood came in, and then we obviously had that buzz around the last couple of days before the end of the window. Suddenly in training, there's more competition, there's more players around, people want to be there, there's a spirit. You can see it on the pitch, which again, I mentioned it earlier. People are fighting hard, it feels so much like a combined team. Again, one of the first things that Eddie Howe did when he got here, and I'm sure a lot of managers do this, but he took them all out for food together as a team to introduce everyone. It feels like he's created. Well, I'm feeling it off the pitch. It feels like such more of a community, so much more connected. And I think he's doing that for himself in that changing room and wanting people to fight for each other. And I think we're seeing a lot of that right now in that Aston Villa result. It's great to go and score 3 goals against Everton, but to have that team win under tough circumstances, and we did get a little bit lucky with the VAR. I'm not gonna lie, but to kind of go out there, and fight for that 1-0, and that's the thing with the West Ham game. I think it'll be tough. I think if it was a home game, I would back us to win it again. And to answer your question, I think if we are in this kind of spirit still, if we can maybe draw against West Ham, beat Brentford, beat Brighton, and then we're going into Chelsea away, it'll be very tough. But I'll tell you what, the mentality of a winning team just does give you that little extra edge. It absolutely does. If you'd asked me, before Eddie Howe got here, for this period of games, how I thought we would do, I don't think I would not have predicted winning 3 games in a row. I probably would have happily taken maybe 1 win at that time. It's so strange looking at it, 3 months later and trying to remember what you felt back when he first came through the door. We all knew that it was a step in the right direction. And when we got the win against Burnley, everyone's getting very excited. We went through a very tough period of games there. Losing to Leicester 4-0. losing against Liverpool, losing against Man City. We've got the draw against Manchester United. So really, you're looking at the games, I think that the thing that was so frustrating for us as well, as you look further back through time, was that 1-1 against Norwich, which wasn't his fault. We actually played a really good game with 10 men because the main man, Kieran Clark, got himself sent off in Eddie Howe. So you could tell how angry he was about that at the time. And I know I'm laughing now, but my God, I could have probably cried that night because we were the better side. Even with 10 men, we were the better team. And I was so happy that at least we were able to get the win against Burnley. And we knew how important it was because 5 minutes later, we're now playing Leicester, Liverpool, Man City. The Man City game when we should have had a pen as well. The draw against Manchester United, where we should have won as well. Again, this is the thing. So it's great now to say that we finally picked up the points, but you can almost see like the transition through the games as to kind of where we were and what we're doing. Because, in that Manchester United game, we were the better side. We should have won that game, and we picked up a point. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier is, obviously when you're playing well, you need to still take points. And we played well that game, but still couldn't quite, take the 3 points. And then, as I say, you even looking at the Brentford game, 3-3, that should have been 3 points in that game as well. It should have been 3 against Norwich. So to kind of see where we were then, and then, skip forward through what were the tough games. A shocker against Cambridge, a 1-1 against Watford, which again was another game. Why have we not picked up all 3 points? And then go and do it at Leeds, Everton, and Aston Villa in a row. And I'm hoping now that the points we're having these good performances. The points we're actually getting the points from these good performances. And I'm hoping that we will see that continue further. But I will continue to say that I think for me, the biggest part of that, and I'm hoping we're going to keep evolving with it as well. This is 100 days later. I think what Eddie Howe has done, and he spoke about this earlier on in his own press conference and stuff, was the fact that he said the word himself. He said fundamentals. He said he wanted to get the simple things right, and I think we're kind of there now. I think, as I say, I think the new introduction of players like Dan Burn, who already have just stepped in and just was amazing against Aston Villa. I think Matty Targett is one that I think could easily fly under the radar as being a fantastic signing, because he's not, for me, Matty Targett is never going to be there. I think it's not likely that he's going to get too many man of the matches or 9 out of 10s or 10 out of 10s. But I really doubt we'll ever see him down here either. Where's my hand? Trying to look where my hand is on the camera. I don't think we'll ever really see him down here. He's just going to be here. He's just going to be holding his own. He's going to be doing the sensible things right. And that's exactly the player that Eddie Howe spoke about. And it goes back to the conversation we had earlier of, what players have brought in. Will we see potentially more players coming in the summer? I think we will. But I think Eddie Howe's a man that knows what he wants. And what he wants is to just make us tough to beat, have the fight about us, and the players we've brought in, you can already see are those kind of guys. Thank you to everyone who's putting the comments in. I know I'm kind of going back to John's comment. 3 okay, 4 champion. Yeah, well said. Brighton are a hard team. I agree. I mean, Brighton are another side who, again, are doing the simple things right this season. I think they've had about, is it 9 million draws now, or is it just 4 or 5? No, it's 12. So again, that's the thing. Because it's a bit of both, isn't it? Because again, you look at Burnley. What are they? They're 11 draws. We've got 9, to be fair. But just look at the difference between, they've actually lost 1 game less than us. But just because we've got the more wins. So again, it's great to be tough to beat. And I do think that is kind of what is is kind of happening with us at the moment. And now what I'm hoping to see more of in Eddie Howe's next 100 days. And again, I'm not going to be too picky, because again, if you'd offered me this position right here on Eddie Howe day 1, 17th in the league, I would have taken it. So as I say, I won't change my words now. I'll take it now. But as I say, I feel like we're coming to the point now where we're doing the simple things right. I'm not going to jinx it, because I want us to continue doing those things from now all the way through to the end of the season. I think Trippier is one person who does all of these things very well. He clearly has the communication on the field with the players of what he thinks should be happening, and not having him now is going to be tough. But when Trippier went off against Aston Villa, unfortunately, it took a disallowed goal for us to wake up. But after that, I think they were, channeling their inner Trippiers for the rest of the game, because I thought we did well. Top show, Rob. Thank you, Albert. If you are watching right now, I've got about 150 people watching, and you're not subscribed, then please hit that button. Videos every day, and I've also got a couple of big videos lined up as well over the next couple of weeks. So keep your eyes peeled for that. They're taking a bit of time to get them sorted, but this should be good. If anyone's a fan of the stadium tours, the exclusive is here. If anyone's a fan of the stadium tours that I've done on the channel, I've got more than one. I've got a few hopefully going to be coming out very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I don't see West Ham stronger than Newcastle. Yeah, as I say, I just think that, and I think we've bought well this window. Again, I think what we've tried to do is just really steady the ship. Bring in players who know how to do a job right. Joelinton right back. I think he could probably play anywhere at the minute, mate. Who would have thought that we're not feeling the... we've got a bit of a debate on whether Joelinton could play right back. I absolutely love that, to be fair. But Fraser more right back? Don't know whether Fraser can defend, though. 100 Days of Eddie Howe sounds like a romantic comedy. Maybe the Newcastle could release a DVD. We've not had a DVD in a long time, have we? Did everyone used to get the DVDs in the Christmas box? I've not had one of them in a long time. I suppose it's not really many seasons gone by where I'd want to keep a DVD anymore. 100 Days of Rafa sounds like a zombie movie. Here's a good one. Is it Bruno game in midfield? Again, I can see a lot of you guys commenting in the comments about Bruno and when is he going to make his start for Newcastle. It's an interesting one, because I have spoken about this a couple of times. Let's bring up our last lineup. Okay, so that's how we went into the Aston Villa game. The differences straight away will be no Trippier, unfortunately. And I would expect... So what I'm assuming is going to happen... Manquillo is also injured, if you didn't already know that, which is very bad. But from what I understand, he may well be fit in time for Saturday. And I hope he is, because if he is, I would go Target left back, Manquillo right back, Shaw and Danburn. It's funny with the centre-backs, because after the game that Lascelles played against in the last couple of games, I wouldn't have dropped him. I thought he was good. I thought he was really good against Everton. And again, this comes back to the competition that we're creating. Obviously, I think Eddie Howe's had a lot to do with that, but the transfer window has helped him quite a bit as well. I think bringing in 5 new players to help create that competition is exactly what we needed. I think it would have been harsh if we'd dropped Lascelles after the Everton game, unless he was injured or unwell, was what it was in the end. So I think the likelihood is that Lascelles could be back in time for this game. But I think after the way these two played, you can't drop them. The only way I can see Lascelles coming back into this team is if I don't know. I was going to say maybe if Manquillo wasn't fit, and then Dan Burn could play left back, and then Lascelles. Because we've got we've got Target anyway, don't we? So yeah, I don't know. No, I can't see the centre backs changing. But the question was Bruno. So the midfielders we've got right now, obviously, Joelinton, Shelby, Willock. I've said since the day that Bruno got here is that we should play our best players. And I think Bruno is probably one of our best players. So for me, I think we should be starting him. I know exactly why Eddie Howe isn't, and I don't disagree with the reason that he isn't. The reason he's not, we've won 3 games in a row. And these guys have played well. You know, Joelinton is quality, so he's not going to be the guy who's going to get dropped. So it's going to be between Willock and Shelby. I think almost what Eddie Howe's waiting for is for someone to have a bad game. And then they'll have a bad game, and then we'll change it. And this is, again, well, what we've been able to do now with the windows. Sorry. What we've been able to do now with the window is actually create some competition. Someone's just said there they think that we'll bring Lascelles back in for Shaw. I mean, he did get a bump to the head, didn't he? And he has played 2 games in a week, so that is possible. But I do like the ability for us to play these players until someone has a bad game. You know, we've won 3 in a row. You know, I really hope we don't lose against West Ham, but when we do, that's when Eddie Howe goes, right, let's start making these changes to this team. Yeah, James is saying Bruno needs to start against West Ham on Saturday. And I did see a comment. Where was it? Joey versus Rice. That will be a good one. I'll be very interested to see how Joelinton does it in this game. Again, I saw someone else talking about this, and I think one of the biggest questions we had, again, looking back through our matches and things under Eddie Howe. Now, so we'll talk about Joelinton. We're going to talk about Fraser now, and we'll talk about that midfield as well. You know, you look back to some of the games we've played, and having zero midfield presence was a massive problem for us. There was questions around fitness, of why we looked so slow in games. And what Eddie Howe's done by using this formation with the 3, and again, it's helped him as well that Joelinton's found this position and has adapted to it so well, because the way he's playing box to box, he's covering so much ground. Like, again, we're talking about 100 days. You know, closer to the start of when he came in, obviously it was one of the things he wanted to try and fix pretty quickly, was the fact that I was literally at the point. Well, in fairness, it was still when Eddie, it was happening when Eddie Howe was here as well, because remember when we brought Matty Longstaff back from loan, and I actually thought we were doing it because we needed to find some legs in midfield, because we were still not where we should have been. And I think a big part of that is what Eddie Howe has managed to do with Joelinton. He's managed to turn him into an absolute powerhouse in that midfield. So he solved 2 problems in one. He solved the problem of, you know, poor Joelinton, who's getting played out of position and is very low on confidence and doesn't know what he's meant to be doing. He's managed to make a player out of, you know, how much did we pay? Was it 30 million? Or it was a record signing, wasn't it? So he's managed to find, you know, a position for a player who costs us a lot of money, and he's fixed our midfield problem all in one go. You know, and that's not bad going for a player that I think a lot of us probably would have, you know, we're pretty getting pretty we're getting pretty finished with, to be honest. And I don't think there's anyone as much as the Newcastle fans who are willing him to go on and do a good job. And I think we're all buzzing that he is. And then again, you look at someone like Fraser as well. Again, Fraser was a player that were brought in, and we're all just hoping 40 million. We're just hoping that he was going to be able to do the Wilson Fraser link up again. That wasn't happening, was it? That was just nowhere to be seen. Now he's playing every game. He's got his goal. Shortest man in the Premier League, along with the tallest and Dan Burn. And he's got them playing good football. Now, again, a big part of that is winning games. And obviously Eddie Howe has to get us to win these games. But being able to, inspire confidence in a side when you've just won, a game against Leeds. And, I was actually quite apprehensive going into the Everton game. I know, obviously, they had a very poor season. But they just brought in Dele Alli. They just brought in Donny van der Beek. Donito is hoping for the Bruno ball Saturday. I think a lot of people are, mate. I think everyone's ready to see Bruno make his appearance. Midfield is a good headache for Howe to have. That is exactly right, mate. You're exactly right. It's what we needed. It was exactly what we needed, was some actual competition in the ranks of who's playing. And as I say, I said it a moment ago, but I'll repeat it again. I think you've got to play your best players. People do the same thing with St. Max. People obviously are unhappy with St. Max from time to time because he often doesn't possibly track back as he should, and he can kick out. And I think the Aston Villa game, for example, I wouldn't necessarily say he had a bad game. I think he had a very frustrating game. Like, it wasn't really going for him. And when he kind of gets into that bit of when he gets on that side of things, he's not always where we want him to be. But he's, we're talking about Chris Wood earlier. Chris Wood isn't scoring the goals yet. If you're taking someone like St. Max out of the team, he's one of our biggest goal threats. And he's, again, so you obviously lose stuff with him, but he certainly adds a lot as well. And then in terms, for me, these three midfielders are all playing really good. So to drop any of them, I think, is harsh. But same with St. Max. For me, even if he doesn't always have the best game, he's still, our best player. Or he can be on his day, and we're just praying that he has his day more often than not. So yeah, I would look to Bruno. I mean, the only other option maybe is, well, we've got 2 away games in a row now, don't we? I was going to say, would it be a slightly happier start for him if he played his first game in front of a home crowd against Brighton? But 2 away games in a row. I think if we don't start Bruno, Howe was making a big mistake for ignoring Bruno, best midfielder in Europe. Our team was lucky in the last match. I just think that Eddie Howe's kind of waiting for that moment where one of them doesn't have a good game, and I think Bruno will be in. If I had to put a guess on it of what will happen against West Ham, is that Bruno will come on again as sub, but I think maybe he'll give him a lot longer, or he starts Bruno and see how he gets on, and then he can always take him off. But as I say, I mean, I think we should be playing Bruno. And I think it's pretty 50-50, to be honest. There's a lot of people who are Bruno will let Willock be more attacking. That's a good point as well. I think it's kind of 50-50, because when things are working, you don't necessarily want to change it. But again, I think you should play your best players. So thinks it should be Shelby that gets dropped for Bruno. Yeah, well, again, I did my should we click on it? I did my where was it? I did my prediction Here it is. I did my prediction video the other day of what I thought we could do with Bruno. That's a good shot of me, isn't it? Yeah, that was kind of what I was looking at if we were going to start Bruno. I just felt that Shelvey and Bruno are possibly a little bit too similar. I think we can play them together. Where is it there? That was the graphic I used for Shelvey and Bruno, where basically I said that these two guys are kind of are doing the same thing, which is why I would rather do it with a Bruno Joelinton with a Willock further forward. Yeah, you're a gorgeous man. Well, thank you, Alex. I'm not really sure if that was the case on that the exact moment I just stopped on the screen right there. No one needs to drop Joe, just play him right back. Could well be. Could well be. From what I'm hearing, I think Manquillo is going to be back in time and that'll solve that problem. I think it will be interesting to hear what Eddie Howe says in his press conference on Friday morning, to hear what he has to say about who he thinks will start. But yeah, I can't really believe that it's been 100 days of Eddie Howe already. I think to kind of go through those games that quickly, I mean, you play a lot of games in quick succession, and you think that 3-3 opening game, we've put the ball in the net 3 times, put the ball in the net more than we had. Well, actually, no, in fairness, we got a few goals there. Well, that was the takeover game, wasn't it? That was the Tottenham game. I actually went to that Crystal Palace game. I went and watched Graham Jones pick up his first point as Newcastle manager. And then the Brighton game was the one when Eddie Howe was in the stands, wasn't it? So we knew he was coming in at that point. He gets like an international break, wasn't it? Where he then gets his 3 goals in a game, which was fantastic. But again, that was one of the other biggest problems was could not keep a clean sheet to save our life. And then within a couple of games, we get our first win and first clean sheet. Was it our first clean sheet? No. It was. We got our first clean sheet against Burnley along with our first 3 points. He then goes on a horrific games. And then we get the draw against Manchester United where we should have won. Postponed. And someone put it in the comments earlier about the fact that, we'd lost against Cambridge and again drew with Watford there was definitely people who came out at this point and kind of said, do we need to start asking questions about what Eddie Howe's doing? I've always said the same thing, and I'll say it again, was that I was completely Eddie Howe, but I'll ask questions of anyone, to be honest. I'll ask questions when the players are doing good. I'll ask them when they're doing bad. When Joey's playing outrageously well, I'll obviously applaud him for it. But, there was times when he wasn't playing well, and you've got to ask questions. There's a couple of questions around Chris Wood right now, because obviously he's played a few games. He hasn't scored a goal yet. He possibly would have scored a goal had they given us that penalty instead of a free kick, and maybe that would have egged him on. But I think Chris Wood is doing a good job. He's doing a lot of off the ball work. But you've still got to ask. Let's hope he gets a goal soon. And if he doesn't, it's not, oh my God, let's hammer him. It's how can we adjust? How can we work to suit his game better? What can we do? And it was similar with Eddie Howe. Again, he's just come off the back of some really tough fixtures. He hasn't had the results there that he wanted, but at the same time, he's trying to fix 14 years worth of nothing really. And he's come into a team where we haven't won a game all season, where the players can't even last 60 minutes on the pitch because they're all knackered. So, he's had a lot to do in this 100 days. And I think now we're kind of seeing the rewards of that. 3 months later, with some training, with time with the players, with a lot more fitness involved, and now we're kind of coming off the back of what was, yes, a very disappointing loss to a League Two. The League Two? I think they are. League One. Of a very disappointing result, but again, you've got to give it time. I think it was fair to ask questions around some of the fixtures, but at the same time, it's not, because like someone just put it there. Where's it gone? Some people were calling for Howe to be sacked. Totally idiotic. So yeah, I think it was a very small proportion of fans were obviously not feeling the Eddie Howe. Probably fans who maybe weren't feeling Eddie Howe from day one, and that's fine if that's their view. But again, I think he's definitely proved those same people wrong with some fantastic wins under our belt now. And again, it's never to ask questions because we think. Again, it's to have a go at someone. It's just to say, what can we do? What can we do better? Who can we move in position? And that's also why it's so good for us now that we've had this window and that we have some players that we can change. It's created that competition. And, again, we're talking about how can we make things work. If Chris Wood isn't working, we don't have really many other striker options. But what we can do is to possibly look to the way we're trying to create chances. So if I had to kind of say, again, over the last 100 days, what Eddie Howe has achieved is he's completely sorted those fundamental values of fitness, effort, grit, determination. And now I'm hoping in the next 100 years, he will be very old if he was still here in 100 years. Maybe we might have won some silverware by then. Next 100 days, we can now start to see some opportunities for chance creation, and let's try and build on that kind of thing as well. But that's the thing. We go into a West Ham game. It's all good and well trying to see how many goals we can score. We couldn't just defend to save our life when he got here. If we can only concede, if we can get a clean sheet or concede one goal in a game, we're always in it. And I think that's what he's trying to do. And I think Dan Burn and Target and Trippier were pretty much just brought in a whole new back line, was exactly what he was trying to do in that window. We've got that now. We're hopefully going to continue to see that improve as they get to know each other better and everything else. Obviously, Trippier's injured, so that's not really helping right now. But I do think with Dan Burn and Target, that is definitely going to be an improvement for us. League One, yeah. Hello, Sonam. And Graham Jones kept him out. He did. Just for one game, though. Just for the Brighton game. But that is where I'm going to leave it, guys. So thank you for watching. Over 180 people watching right now. If that is you, please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to do my full predictions video tomorrow. Everyone's coming in and saying, hi. Sorry, mate, I'm off. If you are not subscribed, though, please hit that button. I'll be back tomorrow night to do my full Premier League predictions for this weekend's football. I've got hopefully something a little bit different and exciting lined up for Thursday night. Friday night, I think it'll probably be the preview podcast for the game this weekend. And then on Saturday, it'll obviously be the West Ham game. And then I'm hoping on Sunday, we might have a good video for you guys that night as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you are subscribed, then be sure to hit the notification bell as well, so you know that when I go live and do live streams like this, for, as I say, the guys who are coming in a little bit late and have missed the start of it, if you get the notifications on, you can set it so that it tells you when I go live, or even upload a video and you can be in from the start. So again, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all of the support right now. Obviously Newcastle's doing great, and that really helps with the videos. But as I say, just generally, I think there's a great buzz around the channel right now, and that is thanks to you guys. So I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your week if I don't see you. But yeah, predictions tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.